Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today we're going to do something a little different. I know most of you are used to hearing me talk about guns and gun rights, but today we're going to take a little break, just do something a little bit different, and we're going to talk about something that I find a lot of gun owners are also very interested in, and that is cars. We're going to do a car comparison today because, as many of you know, over the last few years, I have actually owned one of the current iteration of all three of the top muscle cars in this country. Or actually the only three muscle cars that really exist anymore, even if their muscle cars is debatable. But I have owned one of each of them. I have owned a 2019 Challenger Scat Pack, a 2021 Mustang GT Premium, and a 2023 Camaro 2SS that I drive now. Now, I am in a unique position to review these three muscle cars because I have actually owned and lived with each one of them for a year each. I haven't just drove them around a track a couple of times or borrowed one for a week or any of that. I actually owned them, lived with them full time as my everyday driver. So today we're going to do a comparison of these three cars. And in the end, we're going to determine which one I think is best. And you can put together your own opinion of which you think is best on what I have to say about them. Now we're going to rate them in about 10 different categories here. I think it's 10, maybe 11. It's going to be power, performance, handling, ride, comfort, convenience, infotainment, what is their infotainment system like, technology, looks, reliability, and then in the end, value will determine which one is the better value. So let's go ahead and get started here, and let's start with power. Now, this is not subjective. This is a very objective category. One car in this group has the most power, and one has the least. When you look at power, the ratings go in first place with 485 horsepower and 475 foot-pounds of torque. We have the Scat Pack Challenger. In second place with 455 horsepower and 455 pounds of torque, we have the Camaro. In third place, we have the current iteration of the Mustang GT, which has 450 horsepower, but only 420 pounds of torque. So on paper, it is the weakest of the three. All right, now that we've looked at power, let's look at performance, because performance is different than power. You can have more horsepower and more torque, but if you don't actually get it where it needs to be, get it on the ground, it doesn't matter. So let's look at how good these cars are at getting that power on the ground and transforming it into performance. Now, as you can see here, the rankings are a little different when you look at performance. In first place with an average 0 to 60 speed of 3.8 seconds, the only one of these three cars to beat 4 seconds is the Camaro SS. In second place is actually the Mustang GT with an average time of 4 seconds flat of 0 to 60. And in last place is the Challenger Scat Pack. Even though it has the most power, it's big, it's heavy, has trouble getting that power down, and its average 0 to 60 speed is 4.2 seconds. And these are numbers I was easily able to validate on my own during the time I owned these cars. Now, I will say one thing. The Scat Pack does have one advantage, as it has the highest maximum speed of 174 miles per hour, whereas the Ford comes in at 163 and the Camaro at 165. All right, next, let's look at handling. I live in the Columbia Gorge. I'm driving curvy mountain roads all the time. So handling is very important to me. And if you look at the rankings as far as handling here, you'll see that once again, in first place is the Camaro SS. This car handles like a dream. When you combine that really stiff chassis that they have perfectly dialed in with MagneRide suspension, limited slip differential, etc., you end up with a car that can really carve those mountain roads. You don't know how good it is until you actually drive it, so it is in first place. Next, in second place, and not even really a close second, is the Mustang. Now, it also has the MagneRide and some of the other features that would make it a good driving car, but it just isn't as tuned in, it isn't as stiff as the Camaro, and that really shows in handling on windy roads. So the Mustang GT is in second place. And at a distant third is the Challenger. The Challenger is great in a straight line. It's great on the highways, but on windy roads, it really falls down. Even when you have the variable suspension and etc. on this car, it just can't handle its own weight in the corners. You often find yourself racing the back end around when you go around a corner, especially if it's a little bit wet outside. So as far as being a canyon carver, the Challenger Scat Pack is definitely last in this category. Next, let's talk about comfort. How comfortable is it to fit in this car? How comfortable is it sitting in the front seat? How comfortable is it sitting in the back seat? Just overall, what is the actual comfort level of the cars? Now, in this category, the Scat Pack easily takes first place. The Challenger is by far the most comfortable car. When you're sitting in the front seat of the Challenger, it feels like you're in a lounger in your living room, and the back seats are actually very comfortable for full-size adults. The Scat Pack easily has it over the other two as far as comfort. Now, as for second place, third place, you can put these either which way you want. When it comes to comfort, the Mustang and the Camaro are pretty much identical to me. Now, the one place where you would be more comfortable in the Mustang is the back seats, because they're kind of usable. In the Camaro, they are not. So for that reason, I put the Mustang at 2, and I put the Camaro SS in third place. Both are very comfortable for the front seats, but not so much everywhere else. All right, next let's talk about ride. Ride is different than comfort. Car can be very comfortable to sit in, but not ride very well. I don't think anyone will be surprised in this category when I say in first place is, of course, the Dodge, the Challenger Scat Pack. This car is big, it's heavy, and it rides very smooth. If you're going to be traveling a lot on the highway, this would probably be the better car for you. As far as the other two, the Mustang and the Camaro, well, they're about the same, half a dozen of one, 6 of the other. So you decide where they go in this category because they're both good. They have good rides. I will say I think the Camaro is a little stiffer, but they are both very good. So either one of these could be in second or third. Now let's cover convenience. Which one of these cars is more convenient to own? How often are you going to find yourself in a situation where I can't do that because I'm driving X car? In this case, I'm going to say the most convenient car of this group is easily, once again, the Scat Pack. It has very big doors. It has a usable back seat, a comfortable usable back seat, and a huge trunk where you can fit lots of luggage, lots of groceries. It's actually a very practical car when you drive it every day. Now, in second place, I'm going to put the Mustang. Now, the reason the Mustang gets second place, once again, is largely because the back seats are actually usable. They're not comfortable, but they're usable, and it has a surprisingly good trunk for such a sporty car. Now, trailing at a distant third here is the Camaro SS. You will find yourself more often saying, I can't take you anywhere because I already have one passenger and the back seats are unusable. And that's true. The back seats in the Camaro just are unusable for any normal size adult. Children maybe, but no adults. Also, on top of that, the trunk is very impractical in this car. Not the cubic size of the trunk, not the volume. It's just being able to get things in it. Because this car has such a specific chassis design, the body is designed a very specific way to be very stiff. That makes the trunk opening very high. So you just have this small opening at the top you kind of have to drop things down into. And that makes the trunk very hard to use. You can't get much in it just because you can't get it through the opening. So a distant third in the convenience category is the Camaro SS. All right, next let's look at the infotainment center in each car. Now I know this is going to be more subjective, but this is my opinion after living with all 3 of them. In first place in this category is going to be the Camaro SS. The infotainment system that Chevy uses is very intuitive. It's very simple. It has the best screen of the 3 as far as being crystal clear and vibrant. It is a really nice interface. I like it. The stereo itself is very good, has a very nice sound system when you get the upgraded Bose system with it. So it is in first place, and in second place is the Dodge. Now I found the Dodge interface probably to be the worst of the 3. As far as being intuitive or easy to use, but it does have good resolution. And I will have to say, as far as the stereo goes, The upgraded stereo system in the Dodge is by far the best. That is a booming, roaring system. So if volume is your main concern, that would probably be number one for you. But I put it at number two because I value the interface more than anything. And that leaves us in third place with the Mustang GT. I just found that the B&O sound system underperformed in this car. And I found that the interface itself was kind of clunky. The screen definition wasn't all that good. It wasn't that vibrant. The graphics were poor. Just didn't like the infotainment system at all. Ford's had problem with their infotainment systems, and the GT here is no exception. So it is in third place in my opinion. All right, the next category we're going to look at is technology. How many modern attributes do these cars have? How much of the modern gadgets and gizmos can you get on the car? Well, in this category, I'm going to say first place and second place is pretty much a tie between the Challenger Scat Pack and the Mustang GT. They can both be had with all kinds of things. I'm going to put the Challenger on top in first place here because it can have a sunroof. Mustang can't have a sunroof. But as far as other technological features, and yes, I'm so old I still consider a power sunroof a technological feature. As far as everything else goes, lane keep assist, crash avoidance system, adaptive cruise control, rain sensing wipers, automatic headlights, they have it. You can get all of that on them. And they work really well. So like I said, number one and number two pretty much interchangeable, but let's give it to the Scat Pack for having that sunroof. And now this is where the Camaro really falls down, and it is at a distant third. Now, I'm not saying it's technologically crippled or anything. It does have some nice things like a heads-up display. It's the only one of the three that has the heads-up display. It does have, like I said, the nicer infotainment center, but there's just a lot of things that are missing. You can't get puddle lights like you can on the other two cars even. You can't get adaptive cruise control. There's no rain sensing wipers. There's no automatic high beams. It is really lacking when it comes to modern accessories and modern features. So that's why it falls far behind the other two in this category, and it's in last place. All right, now let's talk about reliability. I'm going to say right now that I didn't own these cars very long, so I can't say long-term reliability is great on all of them, but I didn't have any major problems with either, and I only had minor problems with the Challenger Scat Pack. So reliability, they're very similar. So what I did is I went and I found three of the major rankings for reliability from consumer sources and averaged them together, and they were all very close. In first place was the Camaro SS with an 84 out of 100 average. In second place was the Mustang GT with an 82 out of 100 average. And in third place was the Challenger Scat Pack with an average of 81 out of 100 average. So you can see not much separating them there. They're very close, just like they're very close in performance. As far as reliability goes, looks like all three of them are pretty good. Now, before we talk about which one is the best overall, let's talk about something that's completely subjective, and that is looks. Which one is the best looking car of the three? Now, in my opinion, I'm going to have to say the Challenger Scat Pack with its retro styling is the best looking car of the bunch. This car is still as great looking today as it was the day they first created this design. They haven't changed it much, and there's a reason. It's near perfection. This is easily the best looking of the three. Now, in a close second, in my opinion, with its bold styling, its big wide hips, its, aggressive stance and its aggressive front end is the Camaro. The Camaro is just a great looking car, still holds up today. The sixth generation is beautiful. Now I think the fifth generation looked a little better, but the sixth generation is a great looking car. So it's in second place, and in a distant third, sadly, is the Mustang. Even though I can't appreciate the looks of the Mustang, and I really appreciate its performance, the looks, it looks a little bit like a carp. People have said it, and it's true. So as far as looks go, it falls down a little bit. Not the ugliest car you can get, surely, but definitely not nearly as attractive as the other two in this category. So in third place, we have the Mustang. All right, next, let's add everything up and decide which one is the best value of the bunch. Now, this is going to be subjective because, we all value different things. Top speed might be your thing, or handling, or whatever. So you might get a different result. But my results are, I find the best value car to be the Camaro SS. With its superior handling, its amazing performance, and the lowest price of the three, it's just the top of the three cars in my opinion. And when you move on to second place, the second value I think is the Ford. Now, I like the Scat Pack better, but the Ford I think is just a better package overall. It mixes performance and convenience at a good price, so it's in second place. And in a very close third, where there's almost no difference between all three of them, is the Scat Pack. It is the most powerful, it is the best looking, it is the most comfortable, but not the best performing of the three. So in third place, we have the Scat Pack Challenger. So there you have it. There's my review of the three American muscle cars. Let me know if you agree with my opinion or disagree with my opinion in the comments section. You could even come on one of my live chats. We have live chats every day at 6 p.m. Pacific time, except Monday and Wednesday when they're at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And let me know why I'm wrong about one of my opinions here. Other than that, let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree or what your opinions are. And I want to thank everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find this information useful, and I hope to see you again in the future.